All right, Divya and Gautam, welcome to season 4 of That One Idea, which is the podcast series at WaterBridge Ventures. Gautam, I should remind you that you were first appearing on this series 2 years ago, when you were fresh and brand new portfolio.
And much younger.
And much younger. So a full 2 years later, welcome back. At that time, as I said, you were a new portfolio company, and it will be interesting to see how you've progressed, scaled and grown in the last 2 years.
Sure.
Divya, a very, very warm welcome. I'm keeping my promise in 2025 of pulling you out of the office more and getting you to come out and chat with us. Welcome to the show, and would love to learn all the product insights that you're going to share of how you've built and scaled CBREX in these 2 years. So on that note, welcome. Let's get started. This is a conversation, so it's freewheeling. And the whole idea is to take our audience through the 0 to 1 scale-up journeys, and I would say really de-glamorize entrepreneurship and starting up. How do you build and scale teams? How do you chase the elusive product market fit? What are moats? And I guess all the usual questions we please ask you. Let's get started. And Divya, let me start with you. I really want to understand, you have spent over 2 decades exclusively in recruiting, right? What has really changed in the day-to-day life of a recruiter today versus, say, over the last decade? And how are you setting them up for success in the future?
Sure. In context of CBREX specifically?
Yeah.
All right.
Or I guess generally, maybe we can start with overall what the life of a recruiter is, and we can do like a pre and post CBREX. Yeah.
Sure. So primarily, most recruiters were very used to the manual way of working previously, let's say a decade back. There were hardly any sourcing tools available in the market. And probably the hiring systems that really existed was applicant tracking systems and maybe HRMS systems. Since then, it's evolved quite a bit. We have LinkedIn that became a very, very important hiring tool for recruiters, post which initiatives like the DEI initiatives and candidate experience started taking precedence. RPO again became a very big way of hiring. And I would say maybe post-COVID, around 2020 is when a lot of digital tools came into picture. And of course, CBREX again became like a very important platform for sourcing across the globe. And within CBREX, what we've done is in hiring, one of the most important challenges is finding the right recruiting agencies, right, to hire for you. So what we've done is we've built a platform where we've aggregated recruiting agencies across the globe, curated them, and we measure them basis their performance metrics, ratings, in terms of what are they specialized in, what kind of industries do they specialize in, and so on. And we use AI to basically map a job across any country, across any industry, to the right recruiting agency. So this has brought in a lot of efficiencies in terms of the hiring processes, right? So we also, of course, use AI in many different ways. Another is, of course, right from, let's say, from a workflow standpoint, let's say it's creating a job description or creating screening questions. And very recently, we brought in AI resume screening as well. We call that C-Screen, and that's working brilliantly for us, right? So C-Screen basically gives you a detailed analysis of the candidate in terms of what are they good at, what are they not good at, what are the kind of gaps, and also gives you some kind of like an analysis in terms of what are the next steps that the organization should likely take in terms of the candidate. So these are some of the aspects that we've really seen impact the recruiting.
So Gautam, taking on from where Divya left off, she spoke about empowering and enabling agencies on the supply side. These are various recruiters who could be based anywhere in the world, and supporting them in order to generate demand for these recruiters and help on the demand side for your customers to source and recruit candidates both with speed and scale, right? Why did you choose the agency route, and you chose to help your clients with their agency-led hiring versus going direct to candidate? And just to clarify for our viewers, direct to candidate is job boards or let's say internal reference networks, and typically this is about 20% of recruiting for a company. Almost 80% happens via third-party recruitment agencies. What was the thought process behind building this product suite to focus on agency network?
It's very interesting. If you look at recruiting, it's very similar to sales.
Yeah.
So if you look at sales, there are two types. There's an inbound sales where I'm expressing interest to use your product or service. So there's an outbound sales, right? But I'm calling you. Now in recruiting the same thing, right? I'm looking for a job or you are reaching out to me to sell your job. Now, if I'm looking for a job, I'll put my resume in various places. I'll apply to a job ad, right? And the job ad could be like, it was all online. Older days, it would be in a newspaper, right?
Yeah.
Now, that is one type, right? And everybody doesn't fall in that category. So that inbound will remain, right? So it's not one against the other. Because people get it wrong. It won't be that outbound will not exist or inbound will not exist. It's the same as sales, right? So if you look at the agency business, it's all about outbound.
Yeah.
Right? Where the agency is reaching out to a candidate to sell the job, look at the fitment, and more importantly, to check intent. Because recruiting is all about timing. Very similar to sales again. Right? I may like your product, but I don't want your product right now. Similarly, this job is interesting, but right now not interesting. Right? So that is what the agency checks, right? And that is outbound. So when we were looking at the market, we saw a lot of digital tools for inbound. Like, and we know it. LinkedIn is, of course, the bigger one, Indeed. And there are if you look at the last 15 years, I would think billions of dollars have gone into building tools for inbound, but very little or almost nothing for outbound. Because people felt that everything was inbound. That's incorrect, right? Anybody in recruiting will tell you that's incorrect. So we looked at, okay, there's no point getting into a very crowded inbound space where there are multiple tools. Let's look at the outbound space, to the agency space, where there is almost nothing, right? It's still happening the way it happened 25 years ago. Why can't we build a tool that focuses on outbound, right? And that is the genesis of CBREX and why we looked at this space, not the inbound.
And just taking on from there, the entire recruitment platform, or OS as I like to call it, basically is fungible across industries. It's fungible across candidate type, and by that I mean whether you're full-time, whether you're temp, FTE, remote, doesn't matter. And of course, across industries and geographies as well, right? How did you manage? I know it's full suite and one size fits all, but is it almost like too good to be true?
So basically, we're able to close any kind of position on the platform, like you just mentioned. I think our strength lies in getting the right recruiting agencies on the platform. And, we, of course, like I said, you use AI to understand their capabilities there. Right. So the platform has built in enough intelligence to understand that, okay, for example, let's say this recruiting agency is probably capable of closing an AI engineer position in Chennai, or it could be maybe a QA analyst profile in Netherlands. So the platform understands these kind of nuances, saying that which agency specialize in what type of hiring. Like I said, our strength lies in getting the right agency. So it doesn't really matter what kind of hiring is done on the platform. It could be staffing, it could be remote hiring, it could be full-time placements, because we have agencies who can cater to all of these kind of things.
How easy is it to scale these suppliers to work across industries? Because you did a lot of work with IT services, now you're doing a lot of work with new age tech and AI companies, also with pharma, with healthcare. How easy is it to get these recruitment agencies, in your case, what we call suppliers, to scale up across different industries? Or does that even matter?
Well, because there will be different agencies for different domains. So the same, like if agency A, B, C, and D is working on IT services, tomorrow when we have a healthcare job, a nurse requirement in Chicago, it will be E, F, G. So A, B, C, and D will not work for that. And that's the beauty of the way I was saying. The beauty is that end of the day, with 4,500 agencies on our platform, you can put any job. You put a job in Denmark, right? And supposing it's a manufacturing operator in Denmark, the agency will be M, right? Agency M will fill that job. While if you put a job in Russia, right, there will be agency D who will fill that job, or a set of agencies, right? So the beauty of the platform is completely elastic, right? You can stretch it in any direction. I can stretch it from healthcare to tech, to manufacturing, to financial services. I can stretch it from Russia to India, to US, to Africa, everywhere. And that is what we at least believe and we hope is fairly unique. Right? There are very few platforms in the world which can give you this kind of elasticity.
I think one of the beauties of seeing early stage journeys as a VC, and especially with CBREX over the last 2 years, is seeing how you've translated this product vision as founders and you've taken it to market. And then we've seen that magic happening, or, we always say PMF is elusive and the marker keeps moving. But at what point, Divya, did you feel since you're core and responsible for product at CBREX, what time did you feel like magic's happening and all your early assumptions on what recruiters need is actually coming to fruition?
So about, I think about 3 years back, Anjali, we were hiring for a robotics organization and they were scaling up very quickly. And we were able to close jobs for them across 7 different countries, including Japan, which happens to be like the toughest hiring market in the world. Incidentally, around the same time, there was a large IT services organization that we were working for. And we were able to close very, very niche and super niche skills for them. These are skills like Magnolia, Malware. We were able to close, I think, 60 to 70 positions month on month consistently, which is very, very hard. So these are 2 most important challenges in the market today, right? It could be multi-geo and also super niche and niche skill hiring. And we were able to do both of these. So that's when it really struck us that the platform is magical, and we probably hit our product market.
Yeah. If you remember that olive oil company in Spain, that was magic. But this was an olive oil company, procurement head, to be based in Barcelona, not Madrid. And the recruiter or the sourcer, supplier who's closing it is based in Mexico because he speaks Spanish, right? So even for us, now these are things which you never imagine, right? When you look at like the ordinary world, you could never think that a Barcelona position will be closed by a guy in Mexico, right? And then we realize, boss, these cross-border linkages are phenomenal. Guys in Vietnam closing positions in Japan because they know Japanese, right? And of course, Indian recruiters closing positions in the US, which was fairly common. And that is the magic of the platform, right? So you would think, okay, a recruiter based in Spain will close a position in Spain. No, that's not true.
Yeah. Similarly, we closed a position in Japan, a very senior position, closed by a recruiter who's based in Mexico. So it was completely unexpected and
it was a country manager. I remember that.
And what's some of the before and after using CBREX feedback that you've received in recent times? Like how has their day-to-day life changed?
Okay, maybe I can cite a few examples here. So there is this chemical engineering company that we recently onboarded about a year back. And he was telling me last month of how the platforms really helped him save time, especially in terms of vendor engagement. And, so we have this tool called CTalk, which is a communication tool, basically which, kind of amalgamates all the communication channels on one particular tool. Right? So it's very easy to engage with agencies. You can provide feedback and all data is available in one location. Your reports, your agency communication, and so on and so forth. So he was telling me that, it saves him at least about 2x to 3x time. And incidentally, they're also hiring across multiple countries, 3 different countries. And, they have to otherwise probably go and scout vendors, analyze them, and maybe get into, negotiation on terms of commercials and so on. So all he had to do here was come onto the platform, get into an agreement with us, post jobs, and start getting profiles within about 24 to 48 hours at the most. So that is one. Secondly, there's another AI organization that we work with. So this recruiter again has given us like a very good testimonial. So what she says is there were skills that they were unable to fulfill for a very, very long time, very niche skills like Tiger Graph and Golang and so on. And they were able to fulfill these kind of jobs on the platform. And these are not onesies or twosies. These are in, large volumes, right? And across multiple countries again. So basically, this is direct feedback from recruiters. But I think the one I like the best is, so there's this recruiter in a large IT services organization. She was handling one of the toughest to hire verticals in her organization. And she was telling us how it basically helped her achieve her hiring targets. And because of which, she got applauded for and appreciated on the floor. And obviously, something like that makes us very happy.
Yeah. She got like a bonus.
Yeah.
And she was crediting it to us, saying, you know what, if you guys are not there, I would never have closed so many positions and,
So I'm hearing multi-geo a lot, like a lot of like cross continent really hiring where suppliers and recruiters in one country, like candidate is another. In some cases, in the TA is a third country. Is multi-geo your first port of entry when you pitch?
Multi-geo is very important. And I'll tell you why. I mean, any company going global, right? Based in any part of it. And everybody wants to go global.
Yeah,
Right? There is no organization in the world who's satisfied, like I'm just selling in my market. It doesn't make any sense. Go to the internet, you have to be global, right? Any company going global, right? Even if you are like 10% or 20, like small, not even like a 5,000 person company. The biggest problem they have is talent, right? After capital, which is what you guys provide. But if you look at that, capital and talent are the two main problems. Right? Everything else is after that, right? So if you can get capital, right, and we can't help with that, then you come to talent, right? And in talent, right, the best part is you are a smaller company. Nobody knows you in that particular country, right? It's completely outbound. It has to be outbound, right? It can't be inbound. There's no way in hell that you will get a guy to apply, right? So if it's outbound, you have to get leads. Now imagine you're a small, like 20, 30, 50 man company. It's a pain, right? As scouting, as Divya said, doing the contracts, the rates, and so on and so forth. Here, you forget about it. Get into one contract anywhere in the world. And we have like a global rate card. So just one negotiation is enough. We just fly, okay, the US, this rate. Brazil, Argentina, Poland, Romania, where do you want to have? Right? You give us low and non list, and the guy says, okay, like 20 countries. Put the 20, we give you the rate, we are done. That's one time. After that, it's at the back end. So whenever you post a job, my location is Japan, it will pick up the Japan rate, feed it. The location is Brazil, pick up the Brazil rate, feed it. That makes it so convenient, right? So yeah, that is one of our calling cards. Not the only one, but yeah, an important calling card, definitely.
Yeah. To add to that, we've closed jobs across 29 different countries. And this is across industries. May not necessarily be only tech, it's healthcare, manufacturing, food and beverages, and so on. So that's a big strength.
So we spoke a little on going wide, 29 countries, doesn't matter what the type of employment contract is, what industry they're in, etc. In terms of going deep into customer accounts, right? Would it be fair to position CBREX as just another recruitment vendor using like a sophisticated tech platform? Or do you aggregate all the agencies that a customer currently uses for recruitment onto a single platform, which is CBREX, right? I also want to touch upon, it's great to see the feedback you're getting from recruiters and how they're embracing the product. Have you had cases where they also see you as a threat? Like, do recruiters see CBREX as, hey, maybe in a few years we won't, like the recruiter's role itself will go away?
So if you look at it from a corporate, and I'm assuming when you say recruiter, you're talking about from the demand side.
On the demand side, yes.
Yeah. Look, if you look at it from a corporate recruiter perspective, again, inbound will always be done by them.
Yeah.
Right? Because those guys are applying to their job posts or their ads. So there is that whole piece.
Yes.
But everybody knows there is an outbound. And outbound is specialized and it's time consuming. That's the big part of it. Outbound is not one phone call. Right? It will be like any outbound. So that's something which any recruiters can't do because they don't have that kind of time. Right? Outbound is really time consuming, which is why you need a specialist. So I don't think they see us as a threat. In fact, they see us as a supplement because we make their job easier. Right now, with outbound, they'll have to deal with 10 agencies or whatever that number is. Now it's only one platform, right? And as Divya was explaining, CTalk is like a marvel because CTalk allows you to get rid of email, get rid of phone call, get rid of text. No text. Every communication
is on the tool.
Is on the tool, and all the data. So even the Excel sheets and everything is on the tool itself. So you don't have to get off the tool. To and data is a big thing in this business, right? Like you need to aging, how long, like what's your selection ratio,
consent,
consent. So every single thing is on the platform. So I think they see us as a great friend, quote unquote, right? We are their ally, right? And to add to what Divya was saying, we've had a recruiter who was doing 3 or 4 closures in a month, 20 closures, because that recruiter was on our platform. And believe me, he was doing Salesforce. I mean, the skill was Salesforce. It's not a vanilla, Salesforce developer is not a vanilla skill, right? That guy is like, even till today, whenever we talk to him, he's like, boss, because of you guys, I could do, 20 in a month, which was a record, right? So complete synergy.
In fact, to add to that, we recently had a recruiter who was closing about 4 to 5 positions a month, closed about 80 positions a month on the platform.
Oh, that was.
Yeah. But it's just, kind of, it basically endorses
20x scale.
Yeah, funny as still. And that's it. And by the way, this recruiter
Yeah.
is hiring only machine learning, Python, AI, like very, very hot. What to use is hot. Like
Yeah.
everybody wants to hire these guys, right?
Yeah.
It's not like hiring, yeah. So yeah, I mean, apart from which it's hot, right?
Yeah.
It's like the demand for that kind of talent, we all know, is the highest in the tech space, right?
Yeah.
So, and we're doing between 60 to 80 for the platform in 1 month.
And there's no chance that the recruiters in this client could have done this on their own with the 10, 12 agencies that they were already working with.
No, because 8 to 10 12 is not possible. They have to work with about 40.
Mhm.
I mean, the math, like
Yeah.
2, 3 per agency is typically what the rule of thumb is. So you're doing 80, you have to work with 40. Now imagine you're dealing with 40 agencies over phone calls, emails, and WhatsApp. I mean, look at the number of transactions, right? For 80 closures, you're doing about 250 interviews.
Yeah.
You're getting 600 resumes in a month, right? That's 20 resumes in a day, and like 30 days. It's not 30, actually 20 days, right? Just look at the back and forth. I mean, your email box will be like,
How suppliers embraced CBREX? Like, I know you started building on the demand side and it was more like demand first, but you've built now a suite of micro products and tools, and your suppliers have also really embraced tech, right? And even they've had to change. They've had to go from, again, the same, their tech suite was only WhatsApp, email, and Excel and Outlook, right? How have you got them to adopt more of what you're building? Why are you indispensable to suppliers?
So pre-COVID, Anjali, I would say maybe they were not as digitally savvy,
Yeah.
and maybe it was a completely new concept, so they did find it a little difficult to, to the test. But post-COVID, we really witnessed a huge supplier adoption.
Mhm.
One is trust. It takes time to build trust on the platform, right? I mean, anywhere for that market, in any marketplace. I think that's one of our strong points. We have some of our sourcing partners who've been with us for almost 4 to 5 years now, and they are making money. And
Yeah.
Otherwise, obviously, they're going to be good. So that is one.
Would you be their largest demand partner?
by far.
Yeah,
By far?
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe in some cases even more than what they're doing themselves. Like
Okay.
their own internal
Yeah. Yeah.
business development.
Okay.
Yeah. And many of these agencies are these boutique firms who are probably very, very good at sourcing,
Mhm.
but they don't have access to these requirements or to these organizations. Probably because they're very small.
Mhm.
They could be, your 1-man, 2-man kind of
Yeah.
organizations going up to about 20, 30 man companies. And they probably also restricted in terms of what location are they based in.
Mhm.
It could be like a tier 2, tier 3 city in India or the US or wherever. And they don't have access to these large organizations. So that is where we come into the picture. We get them these jobs that they can work for. And, one, I think, very important thing is that the platform removes any kind of human bias.
Mhm.
It's all dependent on how good is this recruiter. It's completely performance driven. So in a sense,
Do you
also-
rank your recruiters? And
Yes, absolutely. So we have performance metrics that we measure them on. And we also have something called the resume shortlistation
Mhm.
in terms of how many profiles
And these
are
are
they
published to the
submitting.
recruiters. The recruiters are
Absolutely.
aware of on what basis
Yeah.
you're ranking them on the tool.
Right.
Okay.
All their metrics, they are aware of all their metrics. They also get things like if they've done a good job, they could get something like an upvote.
Yeah.
If they've not performed well, they get a downvote. And this is from the customers,
Yeah. Yeah.
recruiters, right? So it's completely transparent in a way. And another very, very important thing is these sourcing partners get access to jobs which are not necessarily only in the same country.
Mhm.
If they have expertise to source across countries, they can do so.
Yeah.
We, of course, equip them with a lot of other tools. We have something called CBREX Academy on the platform, where we have starter kits. Let's say this recruiter is very good and wants to try out sourcing in the US. So we provide them with some kind of material that they can get started with.
Mhm.
It could be about how recruiting happens in that geography. What kind of conversations do we need to have with the candidate? What are the must-have? What are the
I would love to know how you help them source candidates better. Like, do you do like resume screening? Do you do like matches to job descriptions? Do you give them a probability of a candidate actually getting placed with one of your clients? But how do you help them be better at candidate sourcing?
So one is, of course, these starter kits, and let's say, for example, a nursing hiring guide. The second is, of course, they have to be capable enough to source
Yeah.
the right candidates. That's the
Yeah.
reason why they're on the platform. But once they submit a resume, they of course take the candidate through several screening questions, and evaluate the candidates basis that, and only then submit the resumes on the platform. Once they submit the resumes on the platform, there's also AI-based screening that happens. We call that C-screen, like I said earlier. And C-screen gives you a detailed evaluation of the candidate in terms of, what are the, capabilities of this candidate. Has he really worked on these technologies or other skills that have been mandated? And where are the gaps? And this feedback also goes back to the sourcing partner, right? So helping him improve his sourcing methodologies or fine-tune his quality. After 3 levels of screening is when it actually hits the customer. So our hit ratios initially were about 80 to 83%. So let's say 10 resumes come onto the platform, about 8 resumes will get shortlisted. And now it's faring at about 93%. Okay, thanks to C-Screen. And hopefully we should make it 100% soon.
I think there are two things, and what they were saying. One is trust. I think she brought a very great point. See, look at it like this. A job in Mississippi open from a small hospital, right? Now, if I'm a supplier based in Vietnam, I have no idea whether the job is genuine, right? Will I even spend time? Well, I'm not getting paid till I place something, right?
Yeah.
Now, and it's a global market.
Yeah.
Now, in our platform, because it's opening on CBREX, without batting an eyelid, I'm just saying yes. Because it's going to be, now, if it comes from somewhere else, I'm going to touch it. I'm going to ask 10 questions. Hey, is it hospital genuine? I'll go look up the website. I'll go to their job board. I mean, there's a lot of verification because I'm going to invest time into this, right? So trust is a big thing in this business, right? And for us, it took us a while to gain the trust. And once you get, I don't know what trust. Once you have it, then it's a different ball. And if you don't have it, then again, it works the other side. That's one. Second, if you look at the tech side, the whole idea is not to build a market, to build a market network.
Yeah.
Right. And a market network will only work when you are equipping the network or the marketplace constituents with tools to make them more efficient.
Yeah.
And for us, it's an ongoing process. So it's never going to end. Right. But very clearly, we are building tools. And today, we have a whole suite of AI tools which we're going to launch between now and say June. And a lot of them are focused on the supply side. So not only is it for the demand side, but like sourcing, like you said. How can we help them source better? Now, that's a big thing. And we are going to launch our own tools in there because we are the best people to launch those tools. Right? We have them on our marketplace, right? On our network. We know how this business works. We have the AI technology in-house because we're a tech company. We'll build those tools and we'll offer it to them. It works both ways. They will become more efficient. They will do more business on their own, but they do more business on the platform. So they benefit, we benefit. So it's like a symbiotic
I
relationship.
think another important point is we spoke of multi-geo, we spoke of enabling demand-side recruiters about the supply of products as well. Another thing is really that hiring is always on a here and now, like urgency-driven basis, right? Everyone wants to fill candidates like ASAP. How have you enabled hiring both at scale and with speed?
Yeah,
How do you
so
both?
we're just going to launch something called, and this is my favorite. I have to speak of it. It's called Seed Lightning.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everything has to start with a seed. It's like seed start, screen, and now it's seed lightning,
right?
Okay.
And it has that seed with that lightning in it.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
So this is targeted very specifically to a slightly new segment. So we're looking at slightly smaller companies.
Yeah.
We have a lot of companies in our country from mid to big.
Yeah.
So about 500 million to maybe $1.5 billion.
Yeah.
This is specifically
Yes,
targeted
500 million is small because these are
in the US.
companies.
Yeah. And also in the US, 500 million is not
It's a
bad.
mid-market.
Yeah, it's a mid-market company. With about
How
600,
many
800
people would they hire a year?
So
500
in the US, 600, 800 person company will hire about 60 people a year.
Okay.
10%.
Yeah. And all the 60 jobs would come onto the CBREX platform.
No, I would do 20, 30 on my own.
Okay.
Like, because I'm inbound.
Yeah.
So inbound will not go away.
Yeah.
So I would probably then put the balance 30, 40, which is what happens today. And the remarkable thing is with these jobs, especially in the US, our closure rates are almost 60%.
Okay.
So everything which comes on, we are able to
Yeah.
close because, we're
And
so quick on that.
How are you able to do it faster than all the other vendors?
Yeah. So because,
Like, shop independent.
because we're a vendor, right?
Mm.
We're a system. So when you put a job, like when a US company is putting a job on the platform, right, it's just going, as the way I explained, to multiple vendors who are suited for that job.
Yeah.
So that's what the system is doing. So if you were not using our platform, you'll probably deal with 3 or 4 because you can't deal with 60, as we have already discussed. So now that those 3 or 4 have their own limited, I'm not saying they're good or bad, but they have their own limited capacity. Now here, you're dealing with 12 or 15 who've done that in the past. So the ability to respond is much faster and at scale. So that is how this thing works. So going back to Sea Lightning. Sea Lightning is for companies who want to hire in 1 week.
Okay.
Okay, 7 days.
This is anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world, any scale.
Okay.
We're saying you put a job on a Monday,
Yeah.
right? Monday the job goes live,
Yeah.
right? We are only taking 4 positions. So you can't go more than 4 in a week,
Okay.
right? We are saying in a 7 business day, which is Monday, goes like next Tuesday,
Yeah.
you'll have the process over. You'll have the offers rolled out. Joining obviously becomes control.
But selects.
Yeah, you'll have selects
Yeah.
and in 7 days. Because the confidence we have in our supplier network is so strong. We've seen over the last 5 or 6 years that we get resumes in hours, not in days. That's the main. We've taken that day, like earlier I remember in recruitment, like, hey, I have a 24-hour, 48-hour response time. That's 2 days. We said 3 hours, 4 hours. Like it's that fast.
Yeah.
Right, because of the reach. Right. So that was, Sea Lightning is something which, I'm going to say that pretty soon in the public. Right.
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. You could use this podcast to launch.
Yes.
Yes. So it's like an early exclusive for our.
Early exclusive. Absolutely.
So that's amazing. To answer. Tell me about in terms of moats and the naysayers who say that, hey, these suppliers can run away tomorrow to the next recruitment platform that comes along. Of course, trust and credibility goes a long way, and the fact that you are their largest revenue generator. But outside of revenue, what is causing this stickiness on the supplier side?
See, I think.
And why is it hard? I think the other thing is it is incredibly hard to aggregate suppliers at this scale across so many geos, plus build that trust to enable them in their own scale-up journeys. Right?
I think first, and I know this will sound, first is actually a non-tech answer. Is because we are recruiters.
Yeah.
And we know, we've done this for such a long time. We know how to source. So when I talk to you about sourcing, I'm not giving you a theoretical concept.
Yeah. You've been there, done that.
I've been there, done that. I can help you.
Yeah.
Like, for example, there's a new requirement, and this is something that happened 2 days ago. It's very, very difficult to source that. It's a nurse with a particular kind of degree. So it's not only a nurse, right? And working in the night shift and in the emergency ward. So it has like a lot of, bells and whistles, right? Now, we know how to approach a requirement like that. So when we're talking to these suppliers, they do nursing, they do that location, they do emergency ward, but that particular certification is causing a bit of a problem. So we know how to deal with it. We know how to advise them. Saying, hey, you know what, have you tried this? Oh no, we have tried it. It will work. Why? Because we know that it works. Okay. It's a practical tip that we can provide, which only a recruiter can. You cannot get this from a theoretical construct, right? And there are some things which you get by experience. So I think that's one. We help them as recruiters and we talk to them as recruiters, right? That's basic, right? Then you come to the tech and trust, right? The platform, the access which we have talked about and so on and so forth. But I think fundamentally, CBREX is a platform built for recruiters by recruiters, right? And that's fundamental. I know it sounds like a cliche, but it's not, right?
And going forward, Divya, do you think you'll become a multi-product company? And this could even be like many, many years ahead.
Absolutely. In fact, with AI, being the buzzword today, there's a lot of work that we're already doing. So one, for example, is what we still have to get quite a name for this. It's see something. See something, yeah. So maybe it's going to be see fate or see predictive. All right, yeah, something to that extent. So right now we're building a predictive analysis tool that can actually, on basis of a resume, say what is the chances or the probability of getting this candidate getting shortlisted. So like we'll have to still coin a word for it, but this is in the works and we're looking at a launch this quarter.
Okay.
So this is one such tool. Multiple other tools, like Gautam was saying, we're planning to also launch some sourcing tools for the sourcing partners because their strength is our strength.
Yeah.
And multiple other tools, even for corporate recruiters, right? So at the end of the day, the goal I would say is to be like a one-stop shop for all organizations, or rather for all recruiters, and hence create a complete AI suite which has all types of tools available to make life easy for a recruiter.
Fantastic. Gautam, what are you looking forward to the most?
No, I think for us, it's AI. I think the direction is clear. And when we've been talking about this internally with everyone in the team, right? AI is the future.
Yes.
Right? And we've got to embrace it. There's no about being scared away.
Yeah.
If you're scared away, you're not getting it, right? So the direction is clear. By the end of the year, we will be an AI suite company. Like we will have many small products. Now people can pick one, people can pick 5, people can pick 6, can pick the whole thing, right? But the only thing is that everything will be for a recruiter and will make the job and life of a recruiter more pleasant. Now this recruiter could be on the corporate side. This recruiter could be on the supply or the agencies. But they're all recruiters, right? And that's our ecosystem, both sides, right? So we are very clear that whatever we build, right? And as I said, we're going to build 5 or 6, right? Will make the job of a recruiter easier. And personally speaking, on the predictive thing, although as I said, we haven't coined a name for it, but it's like a game changer. I imagine I get a resume of a candidate with a score saying 92% chance that this particular candidate will get hired. Now we're talking about shortlisting. The guy will get hired. Now imagine if you have a stack rank like that. You will only spend time on those 3 or 4. Right? Otherwise, I don't even want to look at it. So from a hiring manager perspective, this is like a hiring manager level. There's not even recruiter, right? They're going one beyond. And they will only look at that. And that's priceless for them because their time is valuable. People build it, right? So there we will just collapse that time completely. And that's one of the real big things that we want to launch, as they were saying in this year.
Fantastic. I think on that note, I want to say a big thank you and wrap this podcast up. Wishing you like much, much more success in 2025 to many more, I would say, $1 million clients. And I don't want to jinx it. Really, knock on wood, but really several more. To Divya, your vision of becoming a multi-product company from like a single product company, and wishing you all the very best. And as always, super excited and very privileged to have this ringside seat and see you guys through this journey.
Thank you.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Awesome.